Good evening. Here's a weather update. We talked late last week about the possibility of some snow with a pretty deep storm developing over Missouri, and that was supposed to impact us Monday night and Tuesday. Things have changed, as they always do, at least a little bit. When you're 5 days out, it's a lot different than when you're only 2 days out. And we have more models to look at tonight. So let me review some of this. First of all, let me set the stage here. We'll look at one model. This is the shorter range model. And what you're just looking at here are the black lines are isobars, so we're finding deep areas of low pressure basically here tonight. And the areas of precipitation are the colored areas. Now, this particular map doesn't bother to show precipitation type. And the reason I did it that way tonight is because I want to show three different models, and one of them doesn't play well with that particular map that I want to use. So I had to use this one. Anyway, long story short, we'll just look at three different models here. So this is supposed to be mid-morning on Monday. And I can tell you that all that green right there is going to be liquid as we move forward here. And I think maybe toward this period right in here, that's all warm precipitation right there. Nothing, all the lines, the indicators of what kind of winter precipitation we will get is all above the line. There are some hints of it mixing with snow, maybe upstate. But that's really not the main thing. The main thing I want to show you, though, is the fact that we have that area of low pressure developing on this particular model, the short-range model. And look what it does. So it tracks over Joplin, up over Columbia, and then goes into northwest Illinois. Now, this right here is the back edge of that is snow. Through here, mixed with rain out to the west. That's one model's interpretation. So let's just kind of go through that. There's the low track. So this has shifted significantly more north than it was looking on Thursday when I made the last recording. In fact, if you take this frame right here, that same low is actually here, according to one of the models. That's a huge difference in terms of impact for the Ozarks. Now it's back up to that mid-morning Monday map. We're going right here. Now it's changed models to one of the longer range models we look at called the GFS. And let's see what this one does. So it tracks that low maybe a touch further to the south so that on Tuesday morning it's located right over St. Louis, right around there. And then the back edge of this is going to change over from rain to snow eventually. I will show you some precipitation maps that show snow accumulation and precipitation type here in just a minute. But I do want to highlight the differences between these models. So that one deepens over Chicago and keeps on going. And the snow ends here by sometime Tuesday by about mid-afternoon or so. And then we're into colder, not real cold air, at least not yet. Notice he says yet. Okay, so here's mid-morning. Let's look one more model. This is the Euro model and see what kind of differences it comes up with. So the low track on the European model is actually a little more to the south, not much more, still ending up over St. Louis with some backlash precipitation behind that. Again, all this occurs on Tuesday with us getting some snow showers there, maybe heavier up to the north of us. Certainly looks that way to me. And then it clears out again by late in the day on Tuesday and just leaves us cold but dry for the middle of the week. Okay, so now that I showed you all those models, let's switch back to the, short range. And then we'll we'll probably go to winter precipitation type. That's probably pretty good. So here we are. This is a Monday morning again with the shorter range model. And kind of move that forward. So precipitation type is all rain. Notice that this is going to be snow upstate on Monday. So if you're traveling north to Kansas City or north of I-70, just watch the weather very carefully. And then we're still in rain as the low hasn't even passed us by overnight Monday into Tuesday. And then we start getting a rain to snow changeover on Tuesday morning, and then that kind of keeps going like we've indicated earlier. And the other model that actually produces this kind of map is the GFS, so I'll do that and show you about the same, maybe a little further south with the snow accumulations, but these up here in north central and possibly as far south as central Missouri could be pretty good. Again, this is on the warm side of the storm, but cold enough air to produce snow. And again, the storm passes over St. Louis right here. This is Tuesday morning. And then we get into that backlash area of snow here, which is going to be blowing around quite a bit. Not particularly heavy, but there might be some patches. A couple of inches of snow certainly possible out of that as it passes on by and moves on. So if we want to look at snow accumulation, we can do that. Again, these are kind of because they're 10-to-1 ratios. But I think in this case, it's going to work out pretty well. Now, notice that this is the GFS, puts a heavy track of snow through northern parts of Missouri, Kansas, northern Kansas, parts of Nebraska and Iowa, with indicating over a foot of snow in some areas on this particular model. And then we go over to the shorter range model, and same kind of basic pattern. Now notice across Missouri, because of the combination of warm temperatures and a late start to what was already now going to be lighter snow, we're really not seeing any significant accumulations across southwest Missouri. And I think that's probably going to hold true, although I'd probably venture to say this is a little bit off and that we'll probably get a broader area of 1 to 2 inches behind that low pressure track. Okay, so all this is about basically Tuesday, and it's not going to be a huge impact. It will be cold and kind of nasty on Tuesday. Now, speaking of cold, let me do a few things here. We'll change a few things. Let's change to a national view, okay, and then we're going to change models to the long range, and then we're going to take a look at temperatures, because that's going to be interesting. So let's go look at this. So this is the low packing up, and there's another storm here too I need to talk about. So there's that first storm winding up over Chicago, kind of quiet midweek. There's a little bit of Arctic air kind of spilling down behind that, but it really doesn't impact us too much. And then we go into, this is Wednesday afternoon. Notice that there's a lot of Arctic air starting to build up here in the Dakotas and Montana and southern and southwestern Canada. Very, very cold air. So with that white color, basically -5 and below. And so we're going to go forward here. I'm going to go and look at another storm system right there over Louisiana. The position of this has moved quite a bit, but we are definitely in the cold enough air this time around for that to be a snow for us on Friday across southwest Missouri. The question will be, is this low, again like the last one, being positioned too far to the south and east? So in other words, will end up closer to us. But the air is cold enough that even if it did, I think we'd still be looking at winter precipitation. And we can check that real quick and just see what it's looking like here. And indeed, that storm on Friday, this is about noon on Friday, is indicating areas of snow here. So that's something to be worth watching too, but the position of that low has changed as I've been watching it quite a bit. And then the Arctic air comes in. So let's go back to temperatures here. This is the GFS. We'll go back to surface temperatures. So what we're starting to see here is a pretty good spill of Arctic air. This is Saturday, and then this is Sunday. So we're looking at temperatures here with highs below freezing here. And if you're going to be going up to the Chiefs game, like my wife and I are on, I don't know what day it is as I'm recording this, but either of the days, Saturday, Sunday, or Monday, not looking warm. Freezing would be a treat up there. There may be some single digit or even teen high temperatures up that way sometime this weekend. Again, the full force of that Arctic air doesn't come blasting into the Ozarks, as you can see, or at least not right away. But then toward the middle of next week, the high finally settles overhead. So yes, remember I told you the white is negative numbers? So that's that's indicating -16 here in Springfield. Now, how much of a grain of salt do you take that with? Quite a bit, because again, once you get longer out in the models, it just becomes a little more difficult. But do I think there's a push of cold air coming in several different shots and possibly another storm later in the week? Yes, so we'll keep an eye on that very, very, very carefully. So that's my update for tonight. It was just kind of a quick synopsis here. Didn't even have time to turn my camera on. I just wanted to make sure I got this out. So just, Tuesday's not a big deal. Kind of watch Friday a little bit and get prepared to be colder beginning this weekend and going into next week. Thanks a lot.